Hi, I'm Bill Hlubik, and I'm a professor and agricultural agent with Rutgers Cooperative Extension, New Jersey Agricultural Experiment Station at Rutgers University. And we're out here at the Earth Center in Davidson's Mill Pond Park in South Brunswick, New Jersey. Today we're going to talk a little bit about low tunnels. Through a specialty crop block grant that we've received, we're able to test the use of low tunnels for certain greens and also for new strawberry varieties or genetics that we've developed over the past 10 years. So this is a very important grant in the sense of growers are looking for low-cost alternatives to protect plants, to extend their growing season and their profit margins. Season extension is important for both gardeners and farmers. And one of the most cost-effective ways to deal with season extension is through the use of low tunnels. The point is that we want to try to protect our plants during the evening so that the temperature doesn't fall too low. But the low tunnel provides us with plenty of light. A tunnel like you see here is 50 foot long by about 28 to 30 inches wide. And within that, the cost typically runs about $1 per square foot. We will have about 7.5 feet of plastic that goes over the entire riser or the hoop that goes over. So the plastic sits right on these hoops. And then in order to secure each one of these sets of plastic, we use these bungee cords. And the bungee cords secure easily from one side to another, can be lifted off in a matter of minutes and adjusted very quickly. It's important to lift the tunnel when it does get too hot. Otherwise, this will act as a little greenhouse around these plants. If it gets too warm, these plants are going to show injury from excessive heat. Setting up a low tunnel is very easy. Step one is to secure the ends. And you do that typically with some sort of pipe or anything you can drive into the ground at a 45-degree angle parallel with the system that you're putting in. Then after you do that, we put in the series of hoops. The first hoop that we put in is at a 60-degree angle, and then every hoop after that is set 5 feet apart and set in the ground to secure it all the way down to where the anchor point is. After we get it down to that anchor point, then we put the plastic over top the entire structure, and then we equal out each side of that plastic so that we've got it even. Then you stretch your plastic out, securing it at one end first, stretch the plastic out over the entire length, and then you pull it at the other end until it's taut. And then you're going to put the very last hoop at the other end also at a 60-degree angle so that you have a little bit of bend on each end. And then the rest of your hoops are all at a 90-degree angle. Then we go ahead and we secure each one of those hoops with a bungee cord. And then we can hold that entire system down with anchor pins as well. We can put on each one of those hoops. And then when we want to lift the plastic, we simply remove one of the bungee cords, or we simply slide the plastic up on the sides depending on how much tension is on that plastic. You're going to have to go out periodically and continue to add tension to this plastic, because after a few days of the wind blowing, you're going to find that it's going to start to loosen itself up. So periodically you've got to come out and tighten a system like this up. One of the things that we've done this year that we particularly like is that we're using 2 lines of drip irrigation. And that allows us to deliver more water on each row of plastic and allows more efficient fertilizer delivery as well, especially when we're trying to grow greens or grow shallow-rooted plants. When looking at low tunnels, there's some things you really want to consider before purchasing and setting up that low tunnel. One is you want to look at the type of risers or hoops that you have to support it to make sure that they're heavy enough to withstand the season and the wind. And if the temperature drops low enough, we could put row cover either on top of this, or we could slip row cover underneath to give us a double layer of protection for cold nights with specialty crops. This particular tunnel right here, being 50 feet roughly by almost 3 feet wide, is 50 feet of usable space and actually 60 feet running room so that we can tie in each end of the low tunnel. You're talking about 150 square feet of usable space underneath this particular low tunnel system. We can get tunnels all different sizes to match your needs. Also, you want to look at the plastic itself. This particular plastic here is only 1.5 mil. Typical greenhouse plastic can be 6 mil or thicker than that. So probably something in between those two would work best in terms of securing the heat inside the low tunnel. Remember to keep your local conditions and objectives in mind when selecting the thickness of the plastic. In the spring and summer months, you may want to protect plants from excessive rainfall and moisture, which could enhance disease problems. Thinner plastic and ventilation holes can allow for better air movement and may be appropriate at that time. In the cooler months, retaining heat may be a priority for season extension, so a thicker plastic with no ventilation holes may serve you best. I would also look for a low tunnel where we can secure the sides better to keep them down, to keep them secure. This particular system that you see here, we have to continually tighten it. It would be better to have ropes at each side or to have something else securing each side of that plastic at the base so that we make sure we could lock down that system if we have windy weather, if we have cold weather, to make sure we're securing the temperature. So that's the nice thing about a low tunnel. It's very quick to set up. Within an hour or so, we can set up the tunnel, we can take it down, and in much less time than that, we can adjust the sides to allow air circulation in when we need it. It can provide a certain level of protection for those plants on cold evenings. It could also keep excessive rain off of plants if we were getting too much rain, and we can protect the plants from certain insects laying their eggs directly onto the greens that we're trying to grow. So low tunnels can be a viable solution for you when you want to extend the season for growers or gardeners.